Hey, you guys. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Frustrated Grad Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Hughes, the black dude with bad news and cat blues. And I'm welcoming my co host, writer, movie fan, and scat man, Tony Hoffman.
Scatman?
Yeah,
Are you? I hope you're referencing like music and not the other thing.
I mean, it's open to interpretation. Skibbity beep, dum 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 dope. Uh, so how's your work and your week been, Tony?
It's been good. We have been hit with the summer here at the end of the summer here in the Chicagoland area. Very
Yeah,
humid, very hot.
I
I
believe
I appreciate
racists
it.
call it Indian summer.
Indian summer. Isn't Indian summer usually like October-ish?
Well, yeah, I guess it's like when summer goes away for a while, it comes back unexpectedly when it should be like fall. So I guess maybe it's a little early for that.
Yeah, I'm trying to fit in as much summer activity as I can. This weekend. I went to the Lakeview Taco Fest yesterday.
That sounds good.
Ironically, there were lots of guys there, so I kind of missed the meaning of it being called Taco Fest.
I mean, they didn't specifically advertise fish tacos, so I mean,
They had
there's a
fish
lot
tacos.
of beef on the scene.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, I bought some tacos, and I also got some duck fat fries. Some fries made in duck fat.
do those taste different than regular fries? Are they more
Not really.
savory? Okay.
They had cheese and bacon on them as well.
Okay. Well, that's a plus. I haven't had anything duck. I always wanted to try duck, but I just haven't.
I don't know. Like you would probably be able to like figure out the difference in the taste, but
Well, yeah, I
I didn't
figured
really get
duck specifically the meat would taste different than like chicken or something, but I haven't had it.
duck oil as opposed to the regular vegetable oil or grease that's
I
the
didn't know
fries are fried in.
I didn't know ducks created their own oil.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some hard working ducks, I
Now we,
guess.
now we do. Now
Yeah.
we do. And I'm here sipping on some nice, refreshing apple juice as well.
All right. Well, for a more cultural spin, I've been sipping on Jumex this morning. Uh,
Jumex?
yeah, have you never heard of Jumex? It's it's like the name would imply. It's Mexican juice. Uh, the
Oh!
stuff that comes in cans, the nectar juices or whatever.
I'm thinking of like those Mexican sodas that come in like those glass bottles, like the orange.
Oh, those are what do they call it? It's something with a J, Juanitas or something like that.
Uh,
That's something different. But yeah, Jumex I like because it's like it's almost like a smoothie as far as like how thick it is, and it's I think they have strawberry banana, guava, mango. My favorite I think is the straight strawberry, but uh,
Speaking of like smoothies, like I think like over a week ago, I got like a lemonade slushy from 7-Eleven that was so damn good, man.
really,
I tried to go to uh, another 7-Eleven to find it, but they just had like the standard like wild cherry and like cold,
yeah,
flavored ones that
the
are too
basic
sugary.
ones.
Yeah, but that lemonade, man, that really hit the spot, man. I can't believe it was only at this one like 7-Eleven downtown that had it.
You got to pay that extra penny per ounce tax
Picture
for it now.
fever. Yeah,
I it was recently this week I signed up
small
for
price to pay.
I signed up for a Sam's Club membership, and uh they had this stupid thing where you're supposed to get a free they advertise a free Sunday, but then you have to do this like stupid scavenger hunt thing. Like, okay, go to the produce section. What's the color of the sign above the organic
Fuck that.
bananas? And I just for most of them I just guessed. I was like, forget this. I'm not gonna look for these bananas. I was like, well, most of these signs are white, so I'm just gonna say it's white. Like, oh, you got it wrong. You got one more attempt. I was like, okay, well maybe green since it's organic, and that was right. Then I had to guess the price of like I had to guess which maker's mark, whatever their store brand, like what baked goods were on display, and I just guessed
And this is for a sundae, like a chocolate sundae.
it was a 4 berry sundae. So then I was like, okay, I just guessed cookies, and that was correct. And I was like, okay, it's gonna be easy. Then they had me guess the price of whatever those pre-made cooked chickens. I was like, well, luckily enough, I actually just
Rotisserie chicken.
yeah, I'm buying one of those, so I know the price of that. It's $4.98. And then I think the last one, which they tried to get me with this one, they were like, "Okay, now what is the name of the pharmacist?" I was like, "God damn!" I was just gonna say, Doctor McDoctorface, but so I had to go over to the pharmacy and find the name of the pharmacist. So
Look at his little name tag.
yeah, so
Whatever.
so I finally did it. So the thing was actually more than just the sundae. It was a free slice of pizza, a drink, and the sundae. And their pizza
Lots
slices
of
are so
carbs and sugar.
yeah, their pizza slices there are like the size of an entire plate. It's just like,
Uh,
and we got the
like a
meat lovers.
Machi's pizza
Yeah,
slice.
it was like the meat lovers one. So it's just like bacon and sausage just falling off
Sausage.
of it. So it was like uh, it was worth the scavenger hunt.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I hope the calories that you burned looking for it was worth the ones that you were putting on your body.
They probably don't even come close to equaling that, but it was worth it. But it was supposed to be free with the scavenger hunt. It was like, well, you got to pay 30 cents for the county tax. Like,
Ah,
free isn't even free anymore. That's that should be the takeaway for life in general. Like, freedom isn't free, so
speaking of
you got to fight for
freedom,
it.
have you did you see the horrible sounding mother, Darren Aronofsky's newest film over the weekend?
I mean, the name sounds weird, but I like the. I haven't seen it, but I do like that the previews are very vague, which is like something that no other movie does anymore. It's like, hey, here's the entire movie. No point of seeing it now. So I like
But
that aspect of it.
according to what I've heard, that vagueness kind of continues throughout the movie and even after it ends.
Okay, so they went beyond just like smart marketing. They went all the way into like uh Legion territory with their confusion, I guess. Um,
I
so
guess if you're somebody that enjoyed some of his other movies like Black Swan, you'll like this one just for the sort of
I mean, isn't he the
weird.
same guy who directed The Wrestler?
I believe so.
So like, I like that, but I don't know anything else from him really.
The Noah that came out a couple of years ago with
No,
Russell Crowe.
oh no, I intentionally avoided that movie, so
Uh,
I don't
Stay
know.
away from the biblical crap. Yeah, it just doesn't sound like anything that I would go out to the movies to go see. I guess I'd wait for it on Netflix or streaming or whatever. But
Yeah,
people are kind of like upset about the fact that they tried to like piggyback this movie with like it as like a horror film, which it is
yeah,
not.
okay, because that's kind of the vibe I got from it. So well,
It got if you follow Cinema Score, which is like audiences like rating films
okay,
after they see them. You got a cinema score of F, which is like the
that's pretty
worst
bad.
possible score.
Or does it mean
Audiences
something
hated it.
different for them? Does F mean fantastic on Cinema Score?
I don't think that's what the F stands for.
Okay.
But the critics loved it. Oh, the critics,
That
they enjoyed
seemed
it.
like the type of thing that critics might like and audiences wouldn't so
Absolutely.
much. Well, let's talk about the movie that you did see, the aforementioned It. You finally saw it this week.
Yeah, number one again. Made a 60 million, bringing its total to 218 domestically.
All right.
All
So,
right.
how did you like it?
I liked it, but I was disappointed that there was no orgy scene with
With the
Beverly and
children.
Bruce.
All right.
Uh,
Well, I'm sorry, you have to wait for the next one.
You
Maybe
know,
they'll
like
get it right eventually.
I've been like listening to like people talk about that, and like I guess like in the book, it's not as creepy as it sounds
Yeah, I've heard a
if
little
you've
more
read it.
description of it. It's like
Yeah,
they're lost after they defeat Pennywise and they don't know how to
I
get
think it's
out of wherever they are and they think
yeah
that
they're in the sewer.
yeah, they think they'll get out by losing their childhood or whatever.
Yeah,
So, it's
like that's something that kind of it would need to stay on the page. I don't think that you could ever get away with
no.
that.
Plus it seems like it's filled with graphic descriptions of how each boy's penis feels. And I heard a specific detail about the fat boy, and it's just like, well, I didn't know if
Okay,
it
let's
would
talk about the
fit.
stuff that was actually in the movie.
Okay,
Um,
all right.
apparently, Peter Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise, there was a very disturbing scene, a flashback scene that was cut out of the movie, I guess,
I
that
think I may
he
have heard
talked
of this
about.
one, but what was it?
Let me see here. He mentioned that it was during an appearance on Variety's Playback podcast.
All
He
right.
said that it was a scene from a throwback that goes a smudge further back than the 1980s, and he says there was a scene we shot. There was a flashback from the 1600s before Pennywise was Pennywise. The scene turned out really, really disturbing, and I'm not the clown. I look
Hmm.
more like myself. It's very disturbing and sort of a backstory for what it is or where Pennywise came from. That might
Okay.
be something worth exploring in the second one. The idea is the it entity was dormant for thousands and thousands of years. The flashback scene hints on that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because like, there's a lot of stuff that, like, also from the book that's less talked about than the orgy, surprisingly enough. But like, there's a whole thing with like what it really is and where it came from, and the whole thing with a giant space turtle.
Yeah,
So
the Stephen King, the link to his universe with all of these novels that he's written.
yeah, the
That's
Dark
where this
Tower
turtle that like what the turtle vomited up this entire um,
universe or something like that.
universe.
It's something along those lines, which that alone makes me interested to try to maybe take on the book, but like 1,000 and something pages, that's it's pretty daunting. I haven't read a book of that long since I read Mick Foley's biography. I think Have a Nice Day was pretty long. I don't know if it quite reached 1,000 pages. It might have been like 900 though.
I'm very interested to see like what they do in the second movie because part two of the miniseries, which I vaguely remember, I remember it being pretty crappy, and I remember like some of the characters, specifically Mike, not turning out so well in the second one because wasn't he like he was in like a not a mental hospital, but he stayed in Derry while everybody else left, and it kind of took a toll on him.
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think the bully was in like, I don't know if he was in a mental hospital or he was like in a nursing home or something. But I think he ends up killing himself in the second part. Um,
Did he
there was
die in the when he fell in the well, or
no, I think in the original one he
oh, you're talking
lived
about
to
the
be
original?
old like the kids, like the members of the Losers Club. I think the bully ages up. Actually, you know what? I think it was one of the kids who actually ends up killing himself. So I had to go back and revisit that. I've seen a lot of clips from people like when they're talking about the current one, they'll go back and like talk about some details of the old one, but I haven't seen the original one in full in a long time.
The director of the movie It, he talked about how he wants Mike to be like kind of like a junkie as an
Okay,
adult in the second one, and
and
he's already like
me for the time change of going from like the 80s to the present day as adults, that would sound more appropriate.
hmm and he already said that he wants Jessica Chastain to play Beverly, even though she looks clearly more like Amy Adams.
Yeah, she's like everybody was talking about like that girl looks a lot like Amy Adams. But I mean, you'd probably have to cough up a little more money for Amy Adams these days if you want to get Lois Lane to be your Beverly.
You really think she'd cost that? I think the Jessica Chastain would be more, viable, more credible an actress myself. But
I mean,
I see what
I
you
just I was just going based on looks. I mean, yeah, the thing of like they didn't care about that in the old one. They had the whatever the fat kid who was playing them back then who looked kind of like a Biff Tannen type, and then they aged him up to be John Ritter. So uh, that's kind of a they don't
Yeah, I don't
really
think he's
care.
gonna be like a chubby. He's gonna be a chubby kid as an
But
adult.
yeah, I mean, so for that one, they could pick like John Cena or something. They're like, you know what? I learned from. I'm not gonna be a loser ever again.
Exactly. Laid off the carbs, just started scarfing some protein
Yeah, he's
and some weight.
broke. Yeah, like making all kinds of gains. Um,
Yeah, so I think that this was a nice sort of capper to a weak summer. You get this nice big
yeah,
movie here at the very end of the summer. And I'm
yeah,
happy for its success. I'm happy that horror movies are kind of doing well this year with Get
yeah,
Out in this movie.
yeah. So they're gonna be. I like how they're more spread out now, so that you don't have to go see them all in like October and November. So that's always nice. Uh, but yeah, so that's it for it.
Yeah.
Uh,
You get the Kingsman, the Golden Circle this Friday. I'll be seeing that.
yeah, it looks good from the little bit that I've seen. I've tried to avoid seeing any additional like clips and things because
Yeah, I
like
don't know
they
anything
put
about
out
the
so
plot yet.
much. Yeah, they put out so much extra footage now from movies. Like, oh, here's a clip, a 2 minute clip from the middle of the movie. It's just like, why? I don't want to. I don't want to see that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Do
So
you watch? Do you watch the Netflix show Narcos?
no, I've heard a lot about it, but it just doesn't appeal to me. I haven't ever been into like those drug type of shows unless, as I said previously, it's about like a down on his luck Midwestern dad who's been forced into a life of crime. Something like Ozark or Breaking Bad, something like that.
It stars Pedro Pascal from Game of Thrones. He of
The Red
head
Viper.
smashing
Yeah, he's got
by the
his
Mountain
head
fame.
exploded like a watermelon.
Well, apparently the location manager, Carlos Munoz Ortel, was unfortunately murdered
Wow.
um, while scouting for season 4 of Narcos
He's
in a
really
rural
living
area
that
of
life.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Outside of Mexico City, he was found in a vehicle hit with multiple gunshots.
Wow.
Yeah. The motive for the shooting is unclear. Portal reportedly was scouting solo, and he was working in an area prone to murders. So,
All right. Yeah, that's the type of warning you do not ignore. Like, hey, this area is prone to murder. Maybe I'll avoid that location. But
Portal was an experienced location manager who had worked on numerous Hollywood productions in Mexico, including Tony Scott's Man on Fire, Mel Gibson's Apocalypto, and the latest Bond film, Spectre.
so tell me this: with this incident happening, and with
Who will be their new scout manager,
well,
location scout manager?
well, even with that, but with him scouting this location and being murdered there, does this make it a good or bad location to shoot in? Because it damn sure makes it authentic.
They
That's for sure.
they're actually moving from Colombia to Mexico. They've been shooting in Mexico, I guess, for the first 3 seasons,
Okay.
and Mexico is they were scouting for places in Mexico. So I guess they're gonna stick around.
All right. So, all right. Well, sad to hear about that. Now, I
Yeah.
guess deaths on potential sets aren't restricted to just stunt people anymore. A lot of
Over the Over the past decade, drug-related violence in Mexico has forced some film and TV productions to relocate or cancel their shoots. So
And
there's that.
it continues.
Hey, you
Um,
gonna watch the Emmy Awards tonight?
had no idea what was happening. I've
I didn't
seen
either until
several
I was
commercials, but
researching for stories.
I had seen several of the commercials with Stephen Colbert, but it never registered to me like, oh yeah, that is a thing that is
And they
eventually
each
going to happen.
are incredibly unfunny, by the way.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I thought you were funny, Stephen.
I,
Like, it's like,
I'm bringing my pet kangaroo to the ceremony.
yeah, it's like, I guess if he's not talking about Trump, then he maybe loses some steam. So I expect there to be a lot of Trump talk in this opening monologue, somehow,
Yeah,
some way.
predictably. I
Yeah,
expect winners and nominees to say something about
resist.
diverse, yeah, diversity in Hollywood, terrorism, oil, Native Americans,
Yeah,
sexism in Hollywood,
yeah. The chestnuts, the old standards. Um,
and nothing will be done about any of them.
Although I feel like the people who really go in heavy on those are the Oscar people, but I do expect a fair amount of that at the Emmys. At least when they do it at the Emmys, it'll be slightly funnier usually. Uh, but yeah, that's all you can really hope for with that.
I bring up whether or not you're going to watch the Emmys because a recent survey suggests nobody actually watches those Emmy-nominated cable or streaming shows.
I'll be the judge of that. I mean, it depends on what the show is. Like, hey, I watch Game of Thrones. I don't watch Transparent. I know that gets nominated a lot. Watch Orange
Well,
is the New Black. Uh,
that gives credibility to this survey, wouldn't you say?
I mean, that's one that I can think of for sure that's always nominated that I don't watch, but it's a demographic thing. It's not about it being Emmy nominated. Maybe the Emmys. I mean, just like most award shows, I'm sure they're out of touch. Uh, Especially when you nominate something like I'm trying to remember. I think Orange is the New Black. Like at one point, I think they were classified as a comedy. Then they were classified as a drama. So I don't know what they are now. So that like shuffling of stuff like that, I'm sure that's gonna mess up
A new
some stuff.
survey reported by Variety suggests that the average American couldn't care less about the golden age of TV, with most respondents answering that they've never heard of Emmy-nominated shows like The Handmaid's Tale, Master of None, or Atlanta. These aren't TV free snobs or total Luddites either. Of the 500 respondents questioned by Catch Media Group, 51% had active Netflix subscriptions, which makes it extra baffling that 76% said that they had never heard of Master of None, which has been heavily promoted on the service. Surprisingly, the one series that most of the respondents either watched or had heard of was Modern Family,
Yeah, the
which
most played out
56%
of them all.
responded, which always gets nominated, which is when it shouldn't be.
Show that's been
Network
on for like over 10 years and is extremely played out. Of course, you've heard
waned
of
in
that one.
quality.
Yeah,
Network series like This Is Us and Blackish did relatively well too, at least to the extent that people knew they existed. Things get more dicey out in streaming or cable land, though. Only 5 or 6% of those surveyed had ever watched The Crown or *Handmaid's Tale*, while cable shows like Westworld and *Better Call Saul* pulled in 17 and 18% respectively.
well, these people are just losers. It's just like that's what we've established so far. Like, yeah, you know what I watch? Modern Family, Westworld. What's that? So yeah, the majority of these shows they're not familiar with. I've seen pretty much all of them. I've seen one episode of *Handmaid's Tale*. I'm trying to get more into it, but it's a little dark. But I know all these other ones so far.
I just don't like the fact that they're not in an ex- easy to access place. Like you got to go to Hulu, you got to go to Netflix, you got to go to Amazon, you got to go to CBS online, you got to go to HBO, you got to pay this service and this streaming service to
I mean,
watch it.
that's one way to do it. Some people know a guy named Cody who can help them out with that stuff. Uh,
Like all these
my friend Cody
these
helps me.
hoops you got to jump through. You got to contact your guy Cody just to watch a TV show as opposed to just turning on the TV and going to the channel.
Yeah, well, Cody makes it pretty convenient, but it's not for
He
everybody.
also makes it illegal and gets you into some
I don't
trouble if you're
I
not
don't
careful.
ask I don't ask Cody about his business, and he doesn't ask me where that cord is going. So
I'm sure that if you get arrested and you're on trial, you won't rat him out either.
no, snitches get stitches.
All that just to watch Game of Thrones.
Hey, that's like what I watch. I've watched Game of Thrones quite legally this year for about a
This
month.
year.
A month.
For about a month.
That was half of the season. Yeah, so cut me some slack. Anyway, but
You
yeah, I
would
know most
think.
of those shows, but like, there's the people who are among us who are cultured. It's a small group, and a lot of people just
Cultured.
want
What do you explain that?
the people who watch something other than Modern Family and The Big Bang Theory, which
Oh, okay.
somehow manages to be like the highest rated show on television for years.
I, I thought you were gonna say like people who watch The Handmaid's Tale and fucking some of those other prestige
Or
shows
just
or
anybody who
cultured.
watches more
As
than just network TV. It doesn't. I'm not even
uh,
gonna like lean it all on one show. Like, okay, this is prestige TV, and you suck if you don't watch it. But like, if you don't even know they exist, then you kind of got your eyes closed because like they show commercials for these things on network TV. All of that just washes over you without you even giving it a second thought. Then advertisers might be kind of upset by that because they think this passive viewing of their commercials and all this stuff is selling you on stuff. It clearly is not working because Hulu is advertising just like Palmolive or all these other companies are advertising. So
I don't watch like The Handmaid's Tale or any of those other like really heavy dramas simply because they're heavy dramas, and I want to watch something that's relaxing and
yeah,
easy to
that's what's kept
follow
me
and
away
and isn't
from
too heavy.
continuing it. Yeah, the Handmaid's Tale, like it was heavy for that first episode that I watched.
Yeah.
It was interesting, so I'm gonna get back to it eventually. But it's not like the first thing I would go for.
Because even like something like Westworld, it's been kind of like criticized for like the writing it being sort of like not top notch, but at least you get some murders and you get some action and you get some
Yeah,
you know some relationship and you
get
get
some
like the whole
existential angst.
exactly the whole
Uh,
story with the Tandy Newton character, just discovering that she's a robot and all
yeah,
of that stuff. And,
yeah. So
yeah,
I think I mean
easily
everything isn't
accessible.
for everybody, but some things get recognized by certain groups, like the Emmys. They're not just gonna focus on network TV every year and just completely ignore this stuff. So
Especially when the stuff on network TV is not good.
yeah, so like maybe like I understand maybe you don't know these shows, but check out the Emmys and say, oh, this show won. Maybe I should give it a shot.
It hasn't worked for the past several years.
Apparently not. uh,
And I was gonna
yeah,
say like in defense of like you can say like, oh, we're gonna nominate these great shows that nobody watches so people can watch them. Well, that's not gonna help their telecast at all.
I mean it's not. But what else? Like you're like we're gonna nominate all these highly rated shows that are on network TV, and like the people who watch them don't necessarily want to just watch the actors from their favorite show get awards every year if it's
I think they
predictable.
do.
I mean, what are the ratings for the Emmys compared to something like Big Bang Theory? Are that is that same audience just continuing to watch that?
I think like the whole main issue with people not watching like the Emmys or even the Oscars is that they don't know who any of the actors are or the movies or TV shows that get nominated.
Yeah, but like I don't know if that's gonna really change if they just focus on the shows they watch because I don't really hear like the Emmys advertising beforehand like, "Hey, these are all the shows that are nominated. Are you going to watch now?" Like you hear about them after it's over. So that's already too late anyway. Like, "Hey, all the network shows won all the major awards. People will find that out after they have not watched the show already. So it's kind of there's some work that has to be done if you want to bring people to the table in advance. And so far it's not working, I guess. I think
They're
it's just
still they're still not going to watch these these low rated prestige dramas, even if they are nominated and do win.
yeah, but that's the problem. I mean, the problem with leaning everything on ratings and having that be like a major thing is that standards are different now. And not that these shows are worse because they have lower ratings, they're more niche programming. That's why when most of
Yeah,
us look at things like Big Bang Theory with such broad, stupid comedy, like, oh, I don't understand why people watch it. But when you whittle it down, it's like, oh, this is something you can easily understand even if you're not paying attention to it. So that's why it reaches a wide audience. Dumb kids who are like, hey, they're wearing superhero shirts. And old people are like, haha, that guy's a nerd. So all those people fit into that bucket of like, okay, this show is for ages 3 and up. Like shows like Westworld, like you actually have to pay attention to it. Like, hey, I think they're like on different timelines. These people have never met each other. So like people don't like to think. That's why these
the
shows.
Big Bang Theory does very well in syndication. I can tell you that's a lot easier to sort of like kind of like have it on when you're like going to bed as opposed to something like Westworld, which you just mentioned,
Yeah, but that's the
or some
weird
of these
thing.
other single camera shows.
Yeah, but that's the weird thing. So it's like they like it's easy
The
to
laugh
watch.
track is soothing.
Yeah, but it's like okay, if what if we took that into other genres or other mediums? Like okay, there's a lot of music out there that's like okay, I'll have this on in the background, but I don't really care about it. So what if everybody just made music like that? It's like okay, instead of somebody having a
I
well
think that's
thought
kind
out,
of a apples and oranges, honestly.
it's a different comparison, but it's like how do you measure like shows get picked up and canceled based on ratings, but the people who do watch some of these shows, they'll like they're the most passionate fans and buy uh they might buy the merchandise for the show or they might buy the show when it comes out on
What's a show that you
DVD or
enjoy, kind of like watching, kind of like casually, whenever you need a laugh? Like what's like
I'm
some,
trying to think of a show that
are
I
there any
don't have to pay attention to
like a
enjoy.
sitcom or whatever, like whatever. I don't know if you watch Family Guy or old
No.
Simpsons reruns or you know
Simpsons is one of
Two and
those
a Half
shows.
Men.
I mean, I guess Simpsons is one of those shows, but like for me now at this point, it's like if I'm not fully invested in like watching the show, I just don't watch it. Period. Like, yeah, I could watch Simpsons in the background, but the alternative is just I don't watch it because like, well, this is an episode that I don't care to pay attention to, so I
I
just
still like
go to something
watching.
else.
I still like watching old Seinfeld or Friends repeats on like TBS or I know on like WCIU here in Chicago they have their nightly like reruns of like Rules of Engagement or like Two Broke Girls or whatever. It's like they're dumb, easy sort of shows to follow. The comedy is sort of easy to follow without really
Yeah, I think the
paying
only
attention
one of
that much.
those that I give a shot to is Seinfeld. But even then, I still kind of pay attention to it. So, like, I guess I just have a different
Yeah,
mentality
because
than
they're
a lot of
good. Yeah,
TV
you pay
watchers.
attention to it because they're even though these shows have been off the air for like almost 20 years, they're still better than anything else that's on fucking network TV.
Yeah, like I'm maybe I have like a higher tolerance to like being patient and focusing on the story because like I'll watch a Seinfeld episode and listen then afterwards I'll listen to a podcast that like this guy Rob Sesternino does a Seinfeld podcast currently where he reviews episodes of Seinfeld. So I watch an episode and then listen
Frasier
to
too.
the podcast about that. Yeah, I know there's Frasier one too, but I don't know if there's a lot of stuff I'll just turn on the TV and just be like, okay, this will be on in the background. Shows I'll do that with there's something like like a talk show, like Windy City Live or something like. That's the only
Oh
thing that
God,
I'll,
don't do that to yourself.
or like the Chew. Like I'll turn that on and be like, okay, I don't have to pay attention to this, or like the Today Show. But I don't really do that past like morning hours. I like if I'm watching something like after lunchtime, I'm going to pay attention to it, or I'll just turn the TV off. Like if I want to do something and not watch and not pay attention, I'll turn on the radio. So it's like different people, I guess, do things differently. Like somebody will turn on their TV and walk away from it and just listen to it. If I'm just listening, I'll turn off the TV and turn on something else. But
Staying on the Emmy theme, you would think that being a black man with an Emmy award in your hand, it would make it easier to catch a cab, but apparently not for one black TV writer.
I mean, in some areas, it'll make it easier for you to get a shot because, like oh, that Emmy looks like a weapon.
Uh, let's see here. Trayvon Free, who is a
Oh, that's
writer
he's already
for
starting off wrong.
He's a writer for Full Frontal with Samantha Bee. He recently won a Creative Arts Emmy for outstanding writing for a variety special. I believe that was last week.
Okay.
Still high on his huge win, he took to the streets of New York City with his trophy in tow to go about his day. When he tried to hail a cab, however, he was quickly reminded of the harsh reality that despite his latest accolade, he is still racially profiled. Posting a
Yep.
photo on Twitter, he explained that the cab he hailed bypassed him, with the driver looking directly at him as he slowly strolled by and stopped to pick up a white woman who was not too far ahead. And
Like you
you
know
see
what? I'm
him.
gonna play it safe this time. Sorry, Blackie.
He posted a picture of him on Twitter, and he wrote, "Standing in the street holding this, and a cab driver looked at me, drove past, and picked up a white lady 10 feet behind me. Amazing." And then the next one it
But
says,
what we
"Yes,
don't hear is that
the
the white lady
chances
was
of me,
holding an Oscar.
yes, the chances of me robbing a cab driver with or without an Emmy are zero." Or, yeah.
Well, progress. I mean, black people are getting Emmys, but not getting picked up by cabs. So one step at a time.
That's just
Maybe,
another reason why Uber is just kicking taxis' asses, and why I wouldn't give a shit if taxis just got put out of business by Uber or
yeah.
Lyft.
That way, all the racist people can see your face first and be like, you know what? I'm not going there. So I'm not gonna waste this guy's time by driving past him.
Exactly.
So, well, better luck next time, Trayvon. At least being a Trayvon, things could be worse. Anyway, like, well, at least it didn't go that way. That's what I would do if my name was Trayvon. Every morning I woke up and be like, "Yep, still uh, doing better than any other Trayvon I know."
How did you think he felt before the year, 2012?
Probably felt like I have a cool, unique name, and if I ever see it show up in the news, I'll be proud and excited. And then he saw it show up in the news, and be like, "Whoa, I might need to hide, change my name."
No more hoodies.
Yeah, I gotta stop drinking Arizona iced tea and eating Skittles. And I can never have them in combination. Like Arizona iced tea and Skittles are the new fried chicken and watermelon.
That just sounds like Arizona iced tea and Skittles. Like eating that at the same time, or you just drink it
I
and
mean, I
have
don't
the
know how he
Skittles for
did it.
later.
Maybe it's like a Diet Coke and Mentos situation, or like a traditional Coke and Pop Rocks. Maybe there's some kind of magical formula with that, but we'll never
Speaking
know.
of which, Arizona iced tea was 2 for 1 at Walgreens this past week. Did you stock up,
So
or
there were
is that
two
not?
for $1.
Yeah, is that your beverage of choice or not? Or,
I've had to back away in recent years because of obvious reasons.
not as sugary as most drinks, but
Yeah, I enjoyed that about it, but you know, he can't be caught in public with that anymore.
speaking of cotton public, your favorite teenager, smart mouth teenager, the Catch Me Outside girl, apparently has just signed a huge record deal.
I just watched her video last night. She,
Oh, she has a video
her
already?
rap. I think she has a couple of them on her YouTube channel. Her rap name is Bad Baby, and bad spelled BHAD. Baby spelled Bhabii.
It looks very sort of like Middle Eastern, like or
Bad baby.
Arabic,
Bad baby.
like
Uh,
bod Pabi.
yeah, so that song was interesting. It's called These Hoes, spelled HeauX. These Hoes. So it's very
Atla-
sophisticated with her spelling.
Atlantic fucking records.
I mean, do they have credibility anymore? I don't like the last person I could think of who was signed to Atlantic was like Ti. Who else is on Atlantic now? I don't know. I think Twister was on there at some point. Uh, but I mean, who signed to what label doesn't matter to me because person everybody loves right now is not signed to any label. Chance the Rapper, who he's not repping anybody's colors. He's not gang affiliated.
For the
So
moment.
it doesn't really.
14, 14 years old. Her her song "These Hoes" spelled stupidly.
Yeah,
Made
who's who?
HeauX
Yeah,
ho these ho made
who's
the it debuted at number 77 on the Billboard Top 100 last week, making her the youngest person ever to make the chart. It currently has 27 million views on YouTube, and she's already cashing in, making at least $30,000 for meet and greets. And she was approached back in February by reality TV producers.
man? I need to go on Dr. Phil and punch my mom.
I like
Uh,
this. The end of the article on Jezebel.com. It says, "No fucking way am I getting tickets for the album or the single or the concert, but yeah, I'm complacent, and yeah, that makes me a hoe. She can catch me in the YouTube views."
how about that? Yeah. So I mean, good for her.
America,
You have to
America.
you have to cash in on. You got to use what you got to get what you need. To
Yeah,
quote,
but I mean, I hope she saves up.
yeah. Um,
It reminds me
hopefully.
so much of that Simpsons episode where Bart, the I didn't do it kid.
I didn't do it. Didn't I didn't do
It's
it.
the Catch Me Outside girl.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Say the thing. Do the thing. At least she was able to find something else. Like she didn't just have to lean
She has
on
a
"Cash Me
trade,
Outside."
but that's exactly what she's doing.
But it's not like the song is called "Cash Me Outside." It's
No, but this song, people are like listening and buying this song simply because of the Catch Me Outside notoriety. This song is gonna drop like a fucking rock after a couple of weeks,
I
and
mean, at least starting at 77, it doesn't have far to fall. So uh,
started at the bottom. She's still here.
yeah, uh, pretty much.
Have you been
So
paying attention? You've been paying attention to this Amber Tamlin thing where I think she mentioned like years ago when she was a young actress, like she was at some I think she was at some party with her friend and she was approached by old ass James Woods trying to like
no,
pick her up or hit her on her, and she obviously turned her down because she was underage. And she mentioned it on Twitter because like James Woods is a fucking psycho conservative now,
all right,
and he denied that it ever happening, and now she's on the offense, you know, writing an article, an op-ed in the New York Times.
all right.
Printer.
So is James Woods our new Bill Cosby? We're gonna take some of the heat off of old Bill. Uh, I mean, I haven't thought of Amber Tamblyn since. Like, what was she in?
The
Like
Sisterhood
as
of
a
the Traveling
child?
Pants.
No, I'm
Um,
thinking of whatever.
Joan of Arcadia, the CBS show.
No, even farther back. Uh, yeah, I haven't thought of her in years and years. But
She's married to David Cross, um, Tobias Funke.
Tobias Funke, the man who blew himself. That's an interesting bit of trivia. Mm. So, you know, a lot of creepy guys in Hollywood. Just another one being exposed. Nothing really new there.
In her article, she talks about she talks about like overall sort of like harassment in Hollywood as an actress. She mentions an experience when she was 21 on the set of Joan of Arcadia, where she she was entering the office of the show's producers to discuss a crew member who kept showing up to my apartment after work unannounced, going
Oh,
into my
right.
trailer while I wasn't in it, and staring daggers at me from across the set.
Hmm.
The show's producers, as Tamlin writes, responded by saying, "There are two sides to each story." And her whole point is
Well,
that women do not get to have a side; they get to have an interrogation. So,
yeah, that
pretty,
tends to be the case. Uh, so good that she's exposing this stuff. Uh, you go, girl.
yeah. Sometimes it's hard to be a woman.
Yep, sure is. Um, all right. Okay.
It,
Here's something we should talk about. One of us is an Apple person. The other one is an Android person. What do you think
I
of
wouldn't
this?
call myself an apple.
What are you podcasting with right now?
Well, I'm talking to you via Skype on my iPhone 7
Ha
Plus.
ha. Gotcha.
Well, that makes me an Apple person because I own an Apple product. You own an Apple product. You own an iPad. I've never had an
Yeah,
iPad.
I own a secondhand iPad that I got for like less than $120. How much did you pay for that phone, sir?
For this, I think it was like because it was my contract had expired. I think it was like maybe like $100 to for a new 2-year contract.
All right.
So
So,
it wasn't full price.
so would you consider an Android phone in the future?
Maybe. I mean, I'm certainly not gonna get this fucking iPhone X or this iPhone 8 stuff, especially with the iPhone X being $1,000, and you know
Yeah.
who pays $1,000 for a fucking cell phone?
Yeah, it's like it's a really weird mentality because like their computers cost $1,000 and people think those are expensive. So why would think somebody is gonna buy $1,000 phone? Just I don't get it. Um,
Well, the big deal with the whole iPhone X is that it is ditching the Touch ID where you use your fingerprint to
yeah,
unlock your phone. They're replacing it with, I guess, Face ID
face
now,
recognition. Yeah.
face recognition ID, where it recognizes your face, it scans your face, and you use that to activate it. But
So now the
one
only
thing,
person who can hack your phone is your twin.
exactly,
It's like good luck, Hodge twins. Uh,
yeah, Mary Kay and Ashley Olsen,
I think they look
the Hodge
different
twins.
enough right now. The Lucas brothers probably would have a hard time. Uh, Tia and Tamara, maybe not so much. They've had a few kids between them. They might have
The
different shaped heads now.
the Winklevoss twins.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So
The
that'll
Bella
be
twins.
no. They they look way different now. They should have boob ID where you just scan your chest
I was
because
gonna say their
that's
boobs
very
look
hard
different.
to replicate. I think.
Since most this article in the Huffington Post where they talk about the twin
Twin magic.
scam, twin match. Oh god! Since most facial recognition is built on visual pattern recognition, it wouldn't be able to reliably differentiate between identical twins. Basically, if parents have trouble telling their twins apart, so will facial recognition algorithms.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, Phil Shearer, Apple's vice president of product marketing, says the company worked with professional mask makers and makeup artists to ensure that lookalike forgeries would not trick the software. But he conceded, of course, the statistics are lowered if that person shares a close genetic relationship with you.
Yeah. So don't let your twin borrow your phone. Uh, make sure you. I mean, there should be some kind of secondary authentication. Like, okay, uh,
Yeah, the
this.
secondary authentication is get a Samsung Galaxy phone.
Yeah. There's no. I have no problem with that whatsoever as an alternative. Because I know with Android they make you put a pin in as an alternative to like the fingerprint thing. So it should
Yeah,
have
my
that
iPhone does that
in
too.
addition. Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
because I can only use like the right thumb from for the Touch ID, but if that doesn't work, or if I want to use my other hand, just put in the little pin number.
yeah. So good luck with that. That I didn't know there was apparently there's a Twinsburg Twin Days festival.
Oh, you saw that link at
Yeah.
the bottom of the article.
Yeah. Where's Twinsburg anyway? Wait,
What town, what state does it say it's in?
I'm checking now. It just
Was it
popped
like
up with this gallery.
Pennsylvania?
I'm not sure. I would assume it would be somewhere around the Twin Cities, but maybe not.
That would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Which assumes that it's not. It's in Ohio.
All right, Twinsburg, Ohio. At least Ohio has something going for it. Um,
Oh.
I mean, they got the Rock and Roll
Hey, the
Hall of Fame.
Indians just won 22 games in a row. That's an American League record.
All right, I'm I'm very happy for them. Good job.
Stickball.
Yeah, with your stick volleyballs.
Yeah.
Um,
So if you ever meet Hannibal Buress, maybe you and him can
share a
check that
phone.
out next August.
We can go half on an iPhone X.
Go to
Um,
Twinsburg.
no, I, I I think being around that many twins at one time would probably be creepy. So I'm
Orgy.
gonna no, just that was not exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking something more along the lines of The Shining, and just let's see like two dead-eyed twin kids staring at me from across the way.
I was
It's
thinking more of
scary.
like the Wizard of Oz. Those rumors that those are little people. When they all got together for the first time, they allegedly had an orgy.
Well, all right. Um, that might be a good place to end on. Is there anything else you want to hit on before we
So,
wrap up for the week?
uh, a couple of launch dates for some new Nintendo games were announced
All
last
right.
week. They're it's not annual, but buy or whatever the term is for a couple of times a year. The Nintendo
I think
Directs
that's biannual
biannual.
or semi-annual.
Nintendo Switch, their Nintendo Arcade archives began this week with the original Mario Brothers game.
All
So I
right.
guess if I owned a Nintendo Switch, that would I would know more what Nintendo Arcade Archives is, but
You should have
I haven't.
you should have had some kind of like barcode implanted into that tattoo that you could just take it to like a Toys R Us and they just scan it like, oh, yes, right this way, sir, and they let you into their secret Nintendo Oasis and they just give you all that you want for free.
I'm gonna get after I pay on my credit card my bill next month. I'm gonna get one when the Super Mario Oasis comes out at the end of next month.
Is it
So,
Oasis? Super
yeah,
Mario Odyssey, that's what
Odyssey,
it is. Yeah.
Super
Yeah,
Mario Odyssey. I'm gonna get that.
you should as soon as you grab that, you should do some gameplay videos, and then I can share and just watch you play the game.
Live vicariously.
Yeah, exactly. That's the closest I'm gonna get to it for a long time.
Aw, do you own a credit card? If you don't mind me asking, or have you?
Uh, well,
You,
did you say
uh,
a credit card?
yeah,
Uh,
a credit card,
uh,
or you have several of them.
this podcast is called the Frustrated Grad Podcast. By the way,
That makes sense.
some some things that come
But
along with that title.
your credit score should be fantastic then, right?
Yeah, one would think that.
Yeah,
Sure
as
would.
long as you pay your $25 minimum each month
Yeah,
as a small price to pay.
25 times 25. All right. Anyway,
Uh,
enough about that.
but I digress. Enough about that. Doom comes out holiday 2017. A couple of other games that Mario Party, the top 100 for the DS, Minecraft came out this week. But since we don't have Nintendo Switch or Nintendo 3DS, it's kind of pointless to even talk about that. Or what
Yeah, it just makes me think about like the Apple announcement Makes me just think about the things I don't have. This is slightly more
But
attainable
you,
than any Apple product
but
launch.
you're actually a Nintendo man. You're a Nintendo person. So
Yeah, but you're the Nintendo dude. I don't have it branded on my body anywhere. You have it, like, you're permanently marked unless there's some kind of weird zombie apocalypse situation where you're bitten in your leg and you have to amputate it Herschel style. Then you may not be branded anymore.
or I
But
could just pay to have it removed
yeah, but
and stay alive.
I think you still wouldn't be able to be buried in a Jewish cemetery. But there might be
Well,
other reasons for that. But anyway,
if I had only known.
uh,
Uh, I have one story that I want to talk about before we go.
all right.
Very important story. Can't believe I'm actually talking about it now. A gym goer has to call firefighters to slice up dumbbell weight he had managed to get his penis stuck in while training in Germany.
When I saw this headline and you heard you say slice, I was getting nervous. Um,
This
so yeah,
comes from the Daily Mail over in the UK. A man who stuck his penis in a dumbbell weight spent 3 hours surrounded by firefighters who sliced him free with power tools. They sliced the weight, not his penis.
yeah,
Angle, very important to mention.
yeah,
Angle grinders, a saw, and a hydraulic rescue tool usually used to prise crash victims from vehicle wreckage were used to smash the 2.5 kilogram disc on Friday.
all
This was
right.
after doctors were unable to remove the weight following the mishap at a gym in Worms, Germany. The victim had to be sedated as firefighters from the city of Worms smashed the weight to free his penis,
Yeesh.
according to Metro. Firefighters shared a picture of the smashed weight, which I think you can see of Zach,
Yeah,
on social media with some helpful advice for anybody attempting to squeeze their manhood into tight spots. Please do not imitate such actions. Well, it depends on what the tight spot is, sir.
yeah.
The incident,
Um,
the incident follows a man's penis being cut off by a circular saw
ew.
in, in Gloucestershire, incident,
Gloucestershire,
Gloucestershire incident.
Gloucestershire. Yeah.
Surgeons were able to save his genitalia after he was rushed to Bristol South Men's Hospital on Monday, September the 4th. The emergency surgery took 8 hours to complete. I can't believe you didn't talk about that.
Yeah, it's penis removal from objects is always like the top of my search criteria. So
Like, why would you even put your dick in like one of those little weights that you slip on the end of the barbell, the little
it's all
why would
about
you even
gains,
put it in?
son.
You trying to like
Gains.
dick lifts or whatever?
Yeah, gains are gains. Like
Is that it?
if it ain't
Is that
hurting, it
actually
ain't working.
possible? Is that actually legit? I don't know.
I don't know. I
Is
know
it?
there's all kind of like weird genital feats of strength that some people do. Like people
Is it
attach
like
weights to their
ankle weights
testicles.
or dick weights? You just wrap it around.
Yeah, I don't know the real benefits of that, but unless you
It
want
sounds
an incident
painful.
like this, I would avoid that at all costs. But maybe people can send you the pros and cons of such activities on your social media. So how can they get in touch with you if they wanted to share in this type of uh,
No
regime?
pictures, please. No pictures. Uh, at Anthony Hoffman on Twitter. You can find me, Anthony Hoffman. Just search Anthony Hoffman on Facebook. And you can check out my pictures from the Lakeview Taco Fest on Instagram. Tony Hoffman Shy. That's Tony Hoffman CHI.
Mouth-watering pictures, by the way.
Lots of
Um,
meat.
yep. Speaking of meat, anyway, you can follow me on the Twitter at Zach Reviews. That's ZAC Reviews. If you want to, you can search me on Facebook at Zach Hughes. I'm on YouTube where I'm doing pretty much a video every day of the week on youtube.com
Wow,
slash
look at you
Zach
go.
Hughes. Yep. And you can follow the podcast on Twitter at Frustrated Grad. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/frustratedgrads. And you can check out the audio version of the podcast on iTunes, Google Play Podcasts, or Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. If it's not on there, email me at frustratedgrad@gmail.com and I'll figure out how to get on there. So if you like what we're doing, go to iTunes or Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star rating. If you really like what we're doing, then go to frustratedgrad.com and donate by clicking the PayPal button. With that, I will say this is the end of the video version of the Frustrated Grad podcast. Thanks for watching. And if you're listening on audio, there's a little exclusive coming up. And that's all you get for today.